Today on Building the Open Metaverse.
You know, we live in a time of disruption and challenges. And at the same time, we have an unprecedented powerful technologies that make me think we have a fantastic opportunity to shape the future we want.
Welcome to Building the Open Metaverse, where technology experts discuss how the community is building the open metaverse together. Hosted by Patrick Cozy and Mark Petit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Building the Open Metaverse Season 6, the podcast that showcases the community of artists, developers, researchers, and entrepreneurs who are building the Internet of Tomorrow. My name is Mark Petit, and my co-host is Patrick Cozy. Patrick is not, unfortunately, with us today. He's busy running Cesium. And by the way, I'll take this opportunity to mention that this podcast has been made possible through the past few years by the support of Cesium. So big thank you to Patrick and to Cesium for allowing us to do this podcast. And as you know, our guests share insights straight from the front line of metaverse development, discussing the latest tools, techniques, and their vision for this new frontier. And joining us today is Virginie Maillard, Head of Global Research in Simulation and Digital Twin at Siemens Digital Industry. With a background spanning the automotive industry at Renault and now leading cutting-edge initiative at Siemens, Virginie brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the conversation. So welcome to the show, Virginie.
Hello.
This podcast with a tradition, which is talking about you and your background. And so can you tell us about your journey to the metaverse?
You know, my personal journey started very early as I was a teenager. I like science fiction. I read a lot of books talking, about time travelers and teleportation. My favorite French novelist at that time was René Barjavel. My favorite book of him is La Nuit des Temps, translated in English as The Ice People. And I'm still fond of such books and movies. Recently, I read the famous Snow Crash from Neil Stephenson. I know you had him in this podcast. And it's just amazing how he described in the 90s the metaverse as it is today. And on the movie side, of course, Ready Player One is very popular. But I would like to name a new series called Upload that describes very well the relationship between the humans and the virtual world. Now, more seriously, on the professional side, as you know, I started my career in the automotive industry. I had been in contact very early to a lot of innovations in the domain of 3D visualizations. For example, immersive reviews of new vehicle design with both interior and exterior visualization. Also engineering design reviews, special glasses to have a 3D rendering. Now, I'm even more involved in the metaverse journey since I have been leading the research of Siemens in simulation and digital twin, and the industrial metaverse being a very important part of activity at this moment. This is my journey to the metaverse.
We had the pleasure to have Anna Sancio last season, who was also with Patrick Lequément and Bruno Simon and the whole gang pioneering 3D in Renault. There was pretty pioneering work, at the scale of the world that happened at Renault at that time. So when we track back, what's the difference between what you're seeing today in the industrial space on the software side versus your experience in the automotive industry?
There are, of course, differences, but also common points. Let's start with the differences. Maybe the automotive is one domain of applications versus Siemens portfolio that is very large. And Siemens portfolio is a lot of hardware and software components dedicated to automation, electrification, digitalization solutions for diverse customers like factories, building, transportation, healthcare. Again, I think the automotive is one domain of application in this large scope. And the common point definitely is, like any industry, they share the same goal on sustainability and digitalization.
So let's go back to the industrial metaverse and digital twin. So first of all, I think it's good to reframe things a little bit and put some meaning behind the words. So what are your definition of the industrial metaverse? And please contrast it with, other usage of the word metaverse.
I think it's important to define the industrial metaverse because today we have a lot of hypes about other types of metaverse, like the consumer metaverse that is socializing, consuming, and entertaining in virtual worlds, typically for the gaming or social media, or the enterprise metaverse that is related to virtual workspaces for office collaboration. The industrial metaverse we are talking about in Siemens is definitely a virtual place where you can interact with a digital twin in order to take some engineering decisions to solve real-world problems. And to be more explicit, in the industrial metaverse, you can visualize the digital twin in an ultra-intuitive and photorealistic way. You can interact with a digital twin and see in real time the impact of your actions. And you can collaborate in real time with other humans around the digital twin in the virtual world. This is an industrial metaverse as we define it in Siemens.
So digital twins are kind of the foundation of that industrial metaverse, right? This is how would you define those digital twins?
And because it is all about combining real and digital world, we strongly believe that the digital twin represents the foundation of the metaverse for industrial purpose. Industrial purpose means to design and operate a real-world system, like a factories, building, great transportation system. In the end, it's just an evolution of what we are already doing today, with more immersion and real-time interaction in the digital twin.
Can you highlight some of the applications that are the most advanced that you've been seeing recently?
We have some example in my team. We have demonstrated, for example, collaboration in industrial place where you onboard different stakeholders. It could be a machine provider, it could be a factory operator, it could be an engineer, and they come together in the same place, and they collaborate in this virtual place around physical, virtual representation, and they can decide what to change, how to modify. They can test different scenarios, and then they can decide to implement in real life. This is a very important, example of industrial metaverse as it is possible to do it today. This is for industry and manufacturing applications, and for design and engineering phase. You have also other possibility, for example, to co-create with different engineers, test different concepts very quickly in this virtual space.
Zoom back and talk about Siemens. I mean, we've seen Siemens giving keynotes at CES. We've seen your CEO on stage, virtually on stage with Jensen Huang during the latest GTC keynote. So can you summarize the strategy in driving the digitalization of the industry?
The core strategy of Siemens is clear and simple. It's all about combining real and digital worlds. And by the way, combining real and physical world is the exact definition of digital twin and industrial metaverse we just talked about. Definitely is to help our customers accelerate their business by innovating faster, producing better, reducing cost, while managing at the same time the biggest challenge of our time, decarbonization and resource efficiency. That's why I believe Siemens is in a strong position to achieve this strategy of combining real and digital, thanks to its leadership on this technology, both hardware and software. But as you know, in innovation, no company can innovate alone. And working in an ecosystem is necessary to bring valuable product to our customers. And I would say simply make the innovation happen. That's why all the announcement of partnerships showing the need of Siemens to collaborate with everybody and in the open ecosystem.
Witnessing those industry, technical software industry, CAD industry over the past few years, the tendency towards openness, I think, is new and actually very, very welcome. So what are the key advantages and potential use case that you see? What's in it for them?
At the very beginning of the process, in the design engineering phase, you can use a digital twin to perform simulation to predict and optimize your product before investing in an expensive prototype. The key advantage at this stage is really to gain time and to save cost. Very soon, designers and engineers will experience what we call the immersive engineering. We have announced at the CES in January in partnership with Sony that brings new capabilities of visualization. And with this new technology, we will be able to explore and validate easily new concept and collaborate with colleagues in the metaverse And in the end, the benefit is really to accelerate the time to market of innovation. Right? So time saving, cost saving, innovate faster. And the other benefit is when you go to production and operation phase, you can test virtually some changes of the layout of your factory, production line, and you see the impact before deciding to implement it. Using digital twin and industrial metaverse at this stage is to really minimize the impact of such changes for the performance, quality, and safety of your running operations. You can also evolve better remotely in the metaverse. They don't need to travel or to be in the factory. They can connect and explore a solution altogether. It's full of potential, and it's really all about performance and quality of your operations.
You mentioned quality, performance. What about sustainability? And as you know, all companies and all of us want to be more environmentally conscious right now. How will the industrial metaverse help?
The industrial metaverse definitely offers enormous potential to transform our economies and industries and to target, of course, sustainability challenges associated. And the core idea here is to leverage the infinite capability of data to accelerate the transition to net zero economies and better resource efficiency. And again, if I take the different phases of the process, in the design phase, when you can realistically test some different options in the metaverse and then use material resources only at the very end, when you are sure about your design, you are saving a lot of resource and time to do that. If you operate a factory or building or even a city, you can constantly optimize the operation by simulating different scenarios and in the metaverse, and then with a focus to reduce energy consumption, is really a great benefit for the planet. And another use case of metaverse is when you have a disruption in a manufacturing site, you can call all experts in the world to solve the problem without having them traveling. And of course, as a consequence, you cause a lot of CO2 emission. So this is a few examples. There is a full panel of application still to be explored, but definitely it's all about saving resources and limiting energy consumption and emissions.
All right, so let's transition from sustainability to another important topic, which is interoperability. Siemens is a member of the Alliance for OpenUSD, and Siemens is also leading the Industrial Metaverse Workgroup at the Metaverse Standards Forum. You have been elected to the board of the Metaverse Standards Forum along with Patrick and myself, and thank you for that. I think it's these are very sound of very active engagement of Siemens. So alongside companies like NVIDIA, Autodesk, Adobe, and Epic, and all those people that are working on that. So, and during the CS keynote, I was surprised to see Cedric Nike did a whole segment on the leadership of Pixar for OpenUSD. So it was interesting to see Siemens praising Pixar on stage. So tell us, why are open standards like OpenUSD so crucial for the industrial metaverse?
To innovate, we cannot innovate alone. We need to be all together in an ecosystem. I don't know if you heard about Siemens Accelerator, that is a digital business platform created an open ecosystem to enable co-creation between customers, Siemens, and certified partners. It can be a very large tech company, or it can be also independent software developers. And to answer your question about the importance of having open standard, it's because it's crucial. Standardization, interoperability, openness, and flexibility to allow this ecosystem work. And that's why Siemens is joining the Alliance of OpenUSD to help our customer take advantage of the strengths of USD across a variety of industrial applications. And we will add support of the USD format to the Siemens Accelerator portfolio of industrial software. And Siemens plans to integrate the JT standard with USD that will extend the USD to the broad ecosystem of JT users and Siemens customers. And regarding the Metaverse Standards Forum, we decided to join this forum in a different position in the board, as you said, but also in the lead of the work group on interoperability, because we believe that it's key to create this condition of success for the metaverse. It's really about the performance and interoperability that will ensure the success of the metaverse adoption.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is fantastic to see companies like Siemens really supporting those efforts, the organization. But what do you see are the challenges or the barriers to implementing open standards?
The usual challenge is the difficulty to coordinate multiple stakeholders and obtain a consensus. And there are also legacy aspects we have to respect and to take into account. It's never easy. But the best way to address this challenge is create such communities, typically a Metaverse Standards Forum and Alliance for OpenUSD.
It's getting this alignment of people together. And I think that's why the forum is such a fantastic organization, because it's kind of abstracts itself from the politics of standard development, but it just focuses on the core issue, which is driving interoperability. So it's fantastic to see Siemens as a part of that. So you're a leader in the cutting-edge field of digital twins and digital metaverse, and which have historically been very male-dominated areas. So what challenge or unique perspective have you encountered as a woman in your career?
Honestly, I never had a problem to evolve in a male-dominated industry. I have always felt respected and supported in my career. But your question is interesting, to highlight the importance of having a team with diverse perspective to address new complexity. And this is the case in the industrial metaverse research, by the way. Usually, to win the game of innovation, you have to be very efficient and quick to understand problems and challenges. And if you decide to play with a monoculture team, you won't see all the possibilities and you will lose against companies that have the full range of mindset to address this conflict.
So what advice would you give to other women aspiring to make, a similar mark as you did in those, rapidly evolving technology sectors?
My advice is pretty simple. It's believe in yourself and just do it. Be strong and courageous and ignore people who try to discourage you, particularly in the domain of innovation. And this is a message for all talented women I have met in my career. But if I had a special message to deliver, it would be to the little girls. I'm not sure they are listening to your podcast, but at least their parents.
We're trying to have them listen.
We know. I encourage them to choose STEM education because it's a lot of fun and you can change their world.
And told us the same thing last, if you put swing for the fence. And don't let people drag you down. What do you envision as, a very likely roadmap for digital twin and the digital metaverse over the next years? I mean, the 10-year vision is always easy because, flying cars, immersive everything. But more like a shorter point of view. What do you think are the next big steps?
I really believe it's a natural evolution of technologies we have already today. It's not a big change. It's really a maturation, and all these technologies coming together and at a point being available largely and easily. And we never had so many powerful technologies in front of us. We have digital twin, we have artificial intelligence, connectivity, automation. These technologies are already playing a big role in the industry today, and they will play a major role in the future, coming together and helping to solve the challenges of the future. And they have matured recently at a phenomenal pace, and we are now beginning to combine all these technologies together to solve concrete problems. And the industrial metaverse is typically in this definition of combining all of this matured technology to activate the power of the digitalization.
You see AI as a disruption or an acceleration?
Siemens is working on AI for many, many decades. That's why it's nothing new, and it's a stake for all the industry. And I see it as an acceleration because it's an access for everybody to this power of analyzing very quickly and giving some insight very quickly. It's definitely It's a kind of augmentation of what the human is able to do. It's a human augmentation.
A lot of our listeners are in companies that are looking, at those technologies. So what advice would you give companies looking to adopt and implement those technologies? What should they look for, and when do they start?
Point is to start developing and implementing a clear digitalization strategy in the company. And the strategy includes, for example, investing in edge hardware, industrial 5G network, digital simulation technology, the artificial intelligence. All these solutions that exist today will be a key component of the metaverse of tomorrow. And they're already bringing a lot of values today. Above all, a digitalization strategy must focus more than ever on factors such as interoperability and openness of digital solutions. That's why that the concept of platform, and in particular Siemens Accelerator I was talking about earlier, are so valuable because they make simple, open and flexible solutions accessible to everybody. And they are the basic prerequisite for building and participating in the future metaverse.
I want to come back on something you said about this being a continuity. This may not be an obvious concept. We always feel as something magic happened in the past few years, but I think it's interesting to note that Siemens invented digital mockups pretty much 25 or 30 years ago, and the JT format was at the core of that strategy. So, I think it's important to remember that, because you guys have been at it for a long time. The digital mockups have new names for the digital metaverse and digital twin, but those ideas have been there for quite some time. So, do you have any final thoughts or insight that you'd want to share with our audience, interesting in those topics of the metaverse and open standards?
We live in a time of disruption and challenges. And at the same time, we have an unprecedented powerful technologies in our toolbox that make me think we have the fantastic opportunity to shape the future we want. And I really believe that applying technology with purpose, as we see in Siemens, is in our hands. We have just to activate this power.
So you're an optimist?
Yes.
I agree. I mean, it's easy to get worried. And as you know, negative sentiment travels faster than anything else on social media and everything else. But I think, as you said, the industrialization, the virtualization, done right, it will help making things faster, cheaper, and helping us, hopefully, bringing us together. I think we've seen technology bringing us apart maybe the past 20 years. I think 3D immersions, interactivity, more time. If the machines do more, we'll have more time. Hopefully, technology starts to bring us together. So I share your optimism right there. So, and our last question of the podcast is the shootout. Is there any person, organization, institution that you would want to give out a shootout to today?
Since you talked about female career in the industry, I like to name two strong female leaders I have worked with who are role model for many, including myself. One is Nadine Leclerc, who held the position of SVP Expert Fellow for Renault Group. She was also SVP Project Engineering and Vehicle Engineering of Renault Group. And most recently, she was president of FISITA, the International Network for Automotive Engineers. A very inspiring career of engineer. And the other one is Barbara Hampton, who is the CEO of Siemens USA. She hosts a podcast called The Optimistic Outlook. The optimistic outlook is about the opportunity to shape the future and address societal challenges thanks to the technology. And this vision resonates with me a lot. That's why special shout out.
Well, thank you very much for that. We'll try to put out links if we can to this podcast. So, fantastic. Thank you so much, Virginie. I really want to thank you for taking the time for joining us today and sharing your invaluable expertise. You have a passion for the industrial metaverse, digital twins, open standards, and that really shines through. I'm grateful you could provide us with such inspiring insights from your career journey as a trailblazing woman leader. Thank you so much, Virginie. And also a huge thank you to our ever-growing audience. Don't hesitate to reach out to us through our website, our YouTube page, or through our LinkedIn page. We always enjoy hearing from you. And thank you so much, and see you all on the next episode of Building the Open Metaverse. Thank you.